Well, hello everyone. Hey, it is Karen McDermott-Rolfe, Independent Advisor with Creative Memories. And today I'm here to give you a preview of Creative Memories Croptoberfest materials and talk about my own Virtual Croptoberfest workshop that's coming up. I had promised this to you in an earlier video this month yet, and so I am here on this Labor Day weekend in the US to share with you. So I hope you're all enjoying a nice long holiday weekend. I'm mixing it with a little bit of fun and a little bit of work. But let me tell you the ways that you can find me and follow me before we get started. Please join my private Facebook group at Karen's Croppers. That's where I share the most often, and you're really going to see a lot of ideas and inspirations there. You can also find my layouts and information about my events and how to purchase from me on my blog at karencrops.com. And then I so appreciate all of your purchases through my Creative Memories website link at creativememories.com/user, and it's /Karen, and that's the Karen with the Y. And I have to say, right now, Creative Memories is offering free shipping. Free shipping is one of our most popular promotions. Everyone loves free shipping, right? Nobody likes to pay for shipping. So until noon Central Time on September 5th, Creative Memories is offering free shipping on purchases of $100 or more in the United States. That purchase amount is a little different for those of you in Canada or Australia. But keep that date in mind. That's September 5th at noon. So you have a few more days here to take advantage of free shipping. So let me show you some items that you might want to put into your cart, okay? So later in September, on September 26th and 27th, I'll be launching my Virtual Croptoberfest Workshop. I do this every year for Croptoberfest. It really kicks off the fall scrapbooking season, and it's one of my favorite events of the year. And for my event, I'm designing some of my own exclusive layouts. They're highly decorative, they feature techniques, and there's a lot of fine detail to these layouts. They're going to be exclusive. I'm only going to share them with those of you who participate in my event. So for your fee to my event, you're going to get printable instructional handouts. You're going to get recorded video instructions, how to make all the layouts. And then I'm going to have some sessions on Zoom where we can meet, watch the videos together. You could crop along, and I'm there live to answer your questions and to give you some encouragement. And then we also have a private Facebook group for the event also, where we'll do some more sharing and where you're going to be able to access all of the instructional materials. These are layouts are just for your personal use, okay? And they're exclusive. I'm not sharing them anywhere else. So I'm asking that you please do not share them either. Please don't share photos of these layouts or the handouts or the video links with anyone who's not registered, okay? And I'm going to put the information on how to register in the description here below this video. And you can always find it on Karen's Croppers on Facebook or on my blog, karencrops.com too. Okay, so I am going to use these materials plus some others. I have already posted my complete supply list, so you can find that on all of my different social media channels, and it's also posted in the registration form. So here's the bulk of the products you're going to need, but you're also going to need about 7 sheets of bright white cardstock. So you might want to just get a whole pack of that bright white. And then a few other items, the custom cutting system with a variety of the cutting patterns, a pen, scissors, other items like that, okay? So this year, Creative Memories did something different with our Croptoberfest items. They split the bundle and the kit into 2 separate items to purchase separately. We could always purchase the kit individually, but in the past, when you purchased the bundle, you also got a kit. So some of you have caught on to this. We've alerted you to this, and I know a few others of you might have missed this. So you're going to have to order both of these items to make my layouts, okay? So the first thing you're going to order was going to be the project recipe kit. Okay, so the kit is going to include the stickers that we're going to need, right? We need stickers for the layouts. You're going to need a project recipe with Creative Memories. We won't be using this, but you can use these recipes and this cutting template to make other layouts with other collections. You're going to get 2 sheets of this pretty chrysanthemum paper. That's the iconic paper here for this collection. Wood grain. You guys know I love wood grain. I also love this check too, the green. So there's 2 sheets of that. There's this sheet of kind of lattice paper with a little vine. We've got this edition of this beautiful plum color. That's kind of a new shade for us this fall. And it really adds a shot of brightness and lots of, kind of just a real shot of fun to these layouts. You're also going to get 2 sheets of cardstock, and Creative Memories has just launched 4 new colors. There's 2 new shades of blue, and then there's this caramel shade and the plum shade that are new. So you can buy entire packs of this on the website, but you'll get these 2 sheets in the project recipe kit. Then you're also going to purchase the Croptoberfest project bundle. Okay, and the project bundle includes items that only come bundled in the bundle. Okay, you're not able to buy them individually a la carte. So you're going to get the accessory paper pack. So we're going to need more designer paper to create the layouts. You're going to get 2 sheets of this little brown speckled paper, and then there's a pretty plaid on the back. We've got the plum again and some stripes, and then we have this beautiful chrysanthemum pattern on the back. There's 2 sheets of that, and then 2 sheets of this green kind of vine pattern, and again with more of the mum print on those papers. Also in the bundle, you're going to be able to get the Croptoberfest cardstock pack. This is an a la carte item you could also order more of. So you're going to get 2 sheets of the plum, canary, pumpkin, and avocado. And yep, there it is, 2 sheets of the caramel. So all of these colors coordinate with the Croptoberfest materials. Also, the Croptoberfest items coordinate with our new fall collection, Grateful Harvest. So I should mention that also. You're going to get a mat pack. It's going to have mats with frames, mats with titles, decorative pieces. Okay, so we'll use a few of these in my layouts. You'll have some of these left over though after we make my layouts. I'm going to get a pack of layered embellishments. Again, these are exclusive, so you can only get them in the bundle. So they're nice, and there's a couple pieces that are nice and big with some layering. And then you're going to get this pack. This is probably the best piece of it all. A pack of embellishments. And they have a little bit of embossing on them to give them some texture and dimensions. So that's really nice. There's a whole bunch in here. There's 30 pieces, you guys. So I started putting them on a sheet for you. It filled up my sheet, and look at these pieces. I love those logs. And then there's more here that just kind of fit on my sheet. So again, the chrysanthemum featuring that pretty heavily. And there's some titles and just some really nice fall icons. Okay. So when we create my layouts, we're going to be using all of these materials. You'll only have a few random embellishments and stickers left. You'll only have some small scraps of the designer paper left, and you will have some of the cardstock left, okay? And then I've featured the new Chrysanthemum Trio Punch here pretty heavily on 2 of my layouts. You're going to get 4 double-page layouts and then 1 bonus layout for my virtual event. And let me show you what I've done with this. So for those of you who will be doing my virtual event, you can kind of get a head start on making some of these because it's a little tedious process. So just get your favorite beverage, crank up your music, and just start making some of these layered pieces. So let me demonstrate how to make that. And then before I do too, I just want to mention one of my all-time favorites, the Leafy Vine Border Punch. You guys who do my events with me, you know we've used this punch a lot in the past. We've used it for some prior Croptoberfest events and some prior National Scrapbook Day events. And all of those, by the way, if you missed any, are available as an on-demand class. And you can get access to those through my blog at KarenCrops.com and look for the tab at the top for on-demand page classes. So if you missed any of my previous events. But we're getting a lot of use out of this punch because, again, I love it. I love the scale. I love the design. I love the solidness of the leaves, and there's been a lot of different techniques that I've done with this one over the years. So again, this is a most favorite punch of mine that I highly recommend. So let me show you this Chrysanthemum Punch too. Now, if you feel like you have a lot of flower punches and you just don't want to purchase another one, you know, I understand. I totally get that. So you can substitute with something, but this larger piece, it's 1 1/8 inches in diameter. So you would want another punch that has a footprint of 1 1/8 inches to substitute. And you'd also want it to be solid, kind of a solid flower. So we've had the Sweet Blossom Punch in the past. We've had some daisy punches that you might be able to make as a substitute for this one. Okay, but let me show you really how I've used it for my layouts. So we're going to punch it. And then after we punched it, I'm taking my microtip scissors and I'm just giving it little snips here in between the petals. So to make this go quicker, I did several at a time. So I think you can maybe stack like 4. Just make sure you get the pattern of the petals lined up, and you could cut through 4 at a time, okay, to make that go a little quicker. And then I did it for the medium piece also of cutting in between these. Now I did this because when I think of mums, and you know, I purchase fall mums every year for some decor by my back door and my back deck. They're kind of, how do I want to say it? They're kind of spiky, right? Those leaves, they're spiky. And so, you know, it's not like a solid. So I like by giving it the snips, it kind of gives it that dimension and more of that look of a mum. Now I did not go ahead and snip the small piece. And then I added another touch here. I took my brown dual tip pen and I went around all of the little tips. So I know you guys are all groaning right now, like, oh, Karen. And in my instructions, and I'll tell you exactly how many of these you need. I made them out of the canary cardstock, the pumpkin cardstock, and then also the plum. So you don't have to be real precise, you know, just give it a little hit of color. Like I said, maybe you could, they said, turn on your music, turn on the TV, and you could just kind of crank these out. It didn't take that long, and actually I kind of got in the groove, and it was a little bit just kind of relaxing because it's a little mind-numbing right now. So anyway, after I did that, then I had my mini foam squares, and I did a layer here. So on the big one, and then I did the medium one with the foam square. And then the little guy, I used my precision point glue pen. I don't happen to have that handy right now, but I do have my repositional tape runner. And then I just glued on or taped on the top flower. So you can see, you know, we've got some dimension now. We've got some shadowing. It's not so flat, right? We've got some color variation, and then this dimension. It makes it pretty. But if you want to skip this step, that's totally fine. You can just punch them. You don't have to cut them. You don't have to ink them. It's an option, but it's an option that I did. Okay. So also, after I created my Croptoberfest layouts, Creative Memories released a new item for us. And this was our inking and stencil bundle. And we are kind of getting into some inks and stencils right now to try something a little bit new. We want to kind of, I think Creative Memories thinking with this is that we know that there are all types of scrapbookers out there, right? We've always said this in the past. And there's room for every style and every one with Creative Memories, okay? Don't get pigeonholed that people that do Creative Memories advisors, Creative Memories customers, that they only scrapbook a certain way. And I think that in the old days, Creative Memories might have had that perception. But, you know, you can look at the work I do, some of my other designer friends. We do highly decorative designer type work. But we also make simple layouts too. You know, and those of you who do simple layouts, that is awesome. That you're getting photos preserved, memories preserved in your albums. So don't feel any pressure that you have to do any of these new techniques and use this new stuff. It's just to offer another option for those of you who would like it, okay? And, you know, I'd encourage you to give it a try. If it's something that you have a little bit of interest, you know, it's just something, again, fun. Most of us are crafters. Many of us do other types of crafts besides scrapbooking. So this plays in with that, okay? So with this bundle, you can purchase some of these items separately, but I encourage you to buy the bundle. You're going to get the cute little stamping stencil here. You're going to get the 3 inks that we have right now that are going to coordinate with the Croptoberfest and fall collections, okay? So we got kind of a rust color, the brown color, and the plum color, okay? And then the most awesome items are these really cute branded little brushes that we have that coordinate and match the inks. So how awesome is that? You don't have to have just one brush that you have to clean all the time in between your inking. You can have a dedicated brush for each color. So let me just give you a quick demo on some ways that I'm going to incorporate the ink into my Croptoberfest layouts. But again, it's totally optional. You can make my layouts without the ink. And actually, I did create them without the ink prior. And then I kind of went back and I did add a little inking to one layout. But I did, and you guys, again, who do my events, you often know that I use the round tip of the brown pen to add ink to my edges, right? So how many times have you seen me do this, right? And okay, so we can still do it that way, and that's kind of what I did for many of my Croptoberfest layouts. But now that we have the little ink pads, I think this is going to make it so much easier. Okay, so I'm just going to be able to, and I'm going to be able to get some additional interest here by, see how it's kind of uneven, it's kind of rustic looking. You've got these little splashes where it goes in further. So I really, instead of just the kind of the straight line that we get with the pen, you know, we could do a little bit more burnishing in the corners. That's awesome. So I know that I'm going to like this a lot, and it's going to be so much quicker than using the pen method, okay? And then for one of my layouts, I did go ahead and I added some stencil to it, okay, after the fact. And I'm going to use this little piece right here, and let me just show you what I did. And I used they call it potter's clay color. It's kind of a rusty color. So I just put a little smear here. And this is on my craft mat. And let me mention this, because this is available as a separate item. It comes rolled up. It's sticky on one side. It's the side that has the Creative Memory logo on it. There's the Creative Memory logo. So you put the logo on, you're facing your table, and then it's going to stick to your table surface for you. And it's kind of plasticky matte. Now, what we've used before when we didn't have this would often be just pieces of plastic, right? We would use some saran wrap or just some of our packaging or some of the plastic that our stickers come in to put the ink on. And you can still do that without getting the matte, okay? So I put the little smear there of the ink, and let me get the piece I want, and I'm going to use my corresponding brush. Love those little caps to keep it nice and protected. And we're just going to rub it in, and I'm going to hold it down, and I'm just going to be carefully rub it into that stencil. And you can make it as light or as dark as you want. You can layer it with different colors. If you wanted to add, to go over it here with the lilac posy color, you could add a little hint of color. You could add a little bit of darkness here with the rich cocoa brown. But you can see, you know, that was fairly quick. I've got some nice variation there. I have some darker, like some shading, right? Some lighter spots, some darker spots. Really pretty. So I added some of this as accents on my single page bonus layout, which, you guys, I am going to give you a peek at, okay? I won't give you the instructions, but I am going to give you a peek of this layout because it's really beautiful. And to give you kind of a look, you know, you guys know my style. So it's just a beautiful, kind of intricate layout. It's got some really great detail to it. Now you can make this layout. I'm going to cursor it. You can make it without the ink and without the stencil, and it's going to look just as lovely, I promise. Because that's the first way I made it. And then I went back in and I added some of these little stenciled pieces. Before we show you that, though, just let me talk about cleanup, okay? I just have a dry paper towel here then, and when I'm done with my brush, I'm just going to rub it on that dry paper towel until I don't see any ink anymore. That's pretty good there. And then I'm just going to put the cap back on. Let's see, there we go. Okay. And then for my mat, I just have a real damp paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe that off. And I'm also going to use it to wipe off my stencil. Now, I think what I need to purchase is some wet wipes, right? Baby wipes, wet wipes, something here to have on my scrapping space for easy cleanup of the ink. It is archival, permanent ink. It's made for this purpose, so you don't have to be worried about using it in your albums. So I've just cleaned it all up. No problem. Easy cleanup, quick and easy, and we're done. Creative Memories put out an instructional video created by Noreen Smith for home office of using the templates and the ink, the stencils and the ink, and showing a few different techniques. She kind of showed different parts of the stencil, the edges. All 4 edges have a different pattern on how you could use that. She did some layering of ink here with the chrysanthemums on the stencil. So make sure to check out that video. I've shared it already in my group, Karen's Croppers. It's been shared widely, but you can find it on YouTube if you just search Creative Memories and see that. And I highly recommend that because she really talks about why Creative Memories when it is trying the inks and stencils, and then gives a really wonderful demonstration, a little bit more demo than what I gave you here, okay? So let me give you that sneak peek of that layout that I promised, okay? So this is the single page bonus layout for my Virtual Croptoberfest, and I will be sharing the handout instruction and video instruction to make this layout with everyone who registers for my event. And again, you can find that registration link in the description below the videos. So here it is. So isn't that beautiful? I was really happy with this layout. I think it's just really, really pretty. And like I said, when I first made it, I did not have the ink accents on it. And then I went in and I put the ink around the edges like I showed you how I just did. Okay, so I really love that burnished edge on this. I did the ink around my photo mats and around the embellishments that I've used. And then since I used a repositional adhesive, I was able to use my multi-purpose tool, just kind of picking up my pieces and adding the stenciling around it to kind of fill out my bouquet here, my beautiful basket of fall flowers. All right, everybody. So I hope that was informational to you. Remember, to make my layouts, to do my virtual event, you're going to need the Croptoberfest project bundle and the Croptoberfest project recipe kit. Okay, those are 2 separate items. You're going to need some bright white cardstock. You're going to need some other items. So make sure you check out my supply list. All right, everybody. I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope to see you later in September at my virtual Croptoberfest. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.